Good morning, everyone. It's me, Tina Gudger, again at VishwArt. Hope you're doing well and having a fantastic morning so far. The kids are at home and I guess they're on Easter holidays at the moment. So we're all probably looking for things to do with them, but with most of us working from home, probably not even possible. So here I have today a new selection of things I want to show you. Yesterday in our tutorial, I showed you how I created this or the different elements. Today, I want to just enhance on that and show you how to create a flower like this one, the purple and yellow, which is made up of 3 elements. And I'll show you that step by step today. And each one of the tutorials thereafter will be going through each one of the flowers and all the little embellishments in this art piece. So I hope you're well and I hope you're excited as I am too. So let's get started. For today's tutorial, what we will need are some strips, obviously, because we're working with paper strips and paper quilling is all about working with strips. You'll be needing the quilling tool or the slotted quilling tool. You will also be needing your board, if you've got a board. If not, you can just wing it, but board is really essential. What you'll also need are tweezers and some glue. Whatever glue that you wish to use, you can go ahead and do that. I've actually taken some tacky glue and put it into my little cones. So let's get started. First and foremost, I'm going to show you how to make this little flower. So this flower is made up of 3 elements. One is the teardrop, which I showed you in the first tutorial. The second is the moon shape, which I haven't shown you, and I will show you that today. And the third element is actually the outside of each of the petals, which holds the 2 pieces together. So one step at a time, I'll show you how to do that. First and foremost, what you'll do is you'll take a strip, put the strip into your slotted tool as you do, hold it together, roll it all up. Here we go. Roll the entire strip. Now these strips I actually cut myself using the standard paper that you get in the multicolored, paper packs from like the Range, Hobbycraft, any art shop really, or any stationers. So I've created a tight coil, which I've shown you before. I'm going to use my quilling board or my template board, and I've got a number of different sizes and different shapes on here, and you'll see that 2 of them have been taken up. Now I like to use a 10mm to make the teardrop, so I'm going to place that into the 10mm slot right here. These are all 10mm, and this is a range of the different sizes. The one I've just put on, I'll leave it in there for a second or 2 so that it uncoils, the tension releases. Pick it up with your tweezers, and using your glue, I like to glue it first before I make the teardrop. Create a closed, loose coil. So here we have a closed coil, loose coil that's closed. And then where the end is of my coil, I will hold everything down and I will pinch it using my finger and my thumb. Once I've pinched it, it's going to create this teardrop. And once you release it, the coils that are inside it will unravel and create this gorgeous, beautiful shape that I like to work with. I'm going to put that to one side. And then the next part we're going to create is the yellow, like a moon shape. And that is derived from making a coil and an eye shape and then bending it into a moon shape like I've made before. So something like this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make that. So for that, I'm going to use my yellow strips. Again, these are strips that I've cut at home. You can download my layouts that I've got on my website on www.VishwArt.com, and it's a free downloadable file. Print it on the standard printer on a colored paper and cut it out. There's a tutorial that I've done on my YouTube, on this YouTube channel, of how to cut paper strips. Go ahead and follow that. So I've created my tight coil. Everything starts with a coil. So I've created my tight coil, and this time round, instead of putting it into a 10 millimeter, I'm going to put it into the 12 millimeter slot. Make it slightly larger than the original teardrop that I've created. Leave it loose for a second or two. Pick it up using my tweezers. Glue it up. And now we've got a nice, again, loose coil, which is closed. And this time around, what I'm going to do is just hold it together using the handle of my quilling tool. I'm going to just roll it around. I hope you guys can see that. Just roll it around, making sure the center of the coil stays in the center. And I'm going to just pinch it together. Can you see that? So that now has created that moon or C shape that would become the top part of the petal that we're looking to create. Once that's done, I'm going to apply some glue on the underside of my moon. I call it the moon. Put some glue on it. And this is where the thing gets a bit tricky and fiddly. Make sure the center of the moon is held together in place. Take your teardrop and put it in the center of the moon. And using your thumb and your finger, hold it in place. And because you're working with glue and you're working with strips, you're going to find that you're going to need to hold it for a second or two more than normal so that it holds its place. If you want to keep going, one of the things that I like to do is use the shape that I have on my quilling board. And once I've glued it together, I hope this doesn't come undone, I'll just put it in here so it holds its shape. There we go. Allowing it to just stick to each other. And that's what we're going to do for 6 more of these. I'll be real quick. I won't be going through all the instructions. So this is the coil that I created earlier. Together. One more. Create my teardrop. 1, 2, 3. We're going to need 6 teardrops to create the flower. What you might find is if there is a coil that you've created and it's unraveled too much, creating a thicker outside ring and not enough coils in the middle, you can always hold the center of the coil and going with the way it's actually curled, just turn it and it will unravel itself nicely in the center and you can pinch it. There we go. I hope that made sense. So I'll make 2 more here. So altogether we have 6 and I'll make the moon for the rest of them. If you've joined me this morning, just say hi so that I know you're watching. And if you are watching this on replay at a later date, do drop me a comment and let me know your thoughts on how I'm actually doing these tutorials, how you're finding them. Is it interesting? Do they make sense? Because as you know, I'm not a teacher. I'm a self-taught quilling artist and I'm only wanting to share what I know with everyone. So here comes the tricky part, using your quilling tool, just create the moon. So there you have a cute little moon that you've created. 1 done, 2, and I'll make a couple more. A fun fact, I used to think you couldn't get paper cuts when you're quilling. And I used to be really going like, I haven't ever had a paper cut. But night before last, when I was working away, I managed to get my first paper cut in almost, what, 3 years of quilling? Interesting. I know, right? And I was like, oh my God, I managed to get my first paper cut. How exciting. So now that we've made a handful of these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sticking them all together. Today I had a really, really exciting idea that I'm going to share with you on Friday. So do watch this space. I think I'm going to do a challenge for the kids. Really exciting. Can you guess what kind of challenge I'll be putting? And at the back of that challenge, I might even add a little giveaway. So keep watching. I'm sure it's going to be so exciting. I do love showing you guys how I work. You know, when I first thought about doing this, I thought people are going to get so bored of watching quilling, but I'm really excited and grateful that all of you guys have been following my journey. I've been watching all these tutorials and I've had so many good feedback and comments about the work that, or the tutorials and the content that I'm sharing with you. So thank you so much for that. As you saw, because I'm trying to rush this through, and quilling is not an art form that you try and rush through. This is actually coming apart. I'm going to place a bit more glue, hold it together. Oh, missing two more. So now what I'm going to show you is the outside of it. Now that this has come together nicely, I'm going to take another purple strip, and that purple strip I'm going to use to hold the two pieces together to create the outside, as you can see, the outside of each of the petals. So using a bit of glue, I'll start from the middle here. So here what I'm doing is I'm going to just roll it up together. Can you guys see this properly, or is it too light? Drop me a comment to let me know. If it's too light, I'll put a darker background underneath what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is just curling through and pinching as I go along to create that point at the end of the petal. Can you see that? Pinch, roll it through. It's essential that when you're doing this, that you hold the pieces together. Right at the end, put some glue on and stick it together nicely. Here we go. Here you have a fully formed petal with the edge, that's one colour, the moon, that's another colour, so that's your tip of the petal, and that's the end of the petal. You can make so many different shapes like this. So what I've done before is I've taken the eye drop, or the eye, and I've actually done the outside with the white strip. And that flower actually looks really, really nice when you put it together. Here we go. Can you see that? Looks beautiful when you've got multiple elements coming together. And I've got this one as well, which I've done. But you know what? I just realised it is a bit dark, a bit light, a bit bright. Let me put a dark background on. Bear with me one moment. I hope that's a little bit better. Okay. Put this tool to one side, and that's your tool, your petal. So I'm going to show you that technique again. In a strip, and keep placing it on the edge. Make sure your edges are lined up nicely, otherwise it's going to look really tacky. And the last thing you want to do is create a time-consuming art piece that looks tacky. So hold it gently, and just go around, pinching each end, making sure all the 3 strips are lined up. I hope that's making sense. Okay. Ooh, see? And when you're not holding it together and you get distracted, that's what happens. But fear not, you can start again simply because you've actually put some glue at the top. But when you start it up, it won't completely come unraveled. So start again. Oh, I'm getting clumsy now. And this is what happens sometimes. I get my technique right and then I lose it. That's the fun of quilling. That's the fun of doing what I do, because you just go about and mindfully make these shapes, create the creations, and at the end of it, the end product looks so amazing that you forget all the boo-boos that you've made in the process. So now that this is done, I'm going to show you how to assemble the pieces together. If you remember from the first tutorial, I used the back of my template board as my guide, and I used pins, which I haven't taken out today. So I'll take these pieces, and it's quite simple really. You take the center, put that in place, using some pins. What I've got is a pre-made white coil, and I'll put that in the center of my board and hold it down with a pin so it doesn't move around. And I'll take 2 of my pieces that I've just created, and I've lost one of them. Oops, sorry. I've actually lost 2 pieces. How funny. Glue one side of it, bring it together in one place, and hold it in place. What I'm doing is I'm holding each one of the petals in place. It doesn't move around, and it sticks together nicely. Because we don't actually have a template for it to sort of slot into, we'll use it this way. And you just carry on with the techniques that I've just showed you. I'm going to do one more petal. And the next part I'm going to show you is how to make the other flower that's on the artwork, which is the yellow flower right there. Again, that's made up of 3 elements as well. And that's what today's tutorial is going to be all about, just showing you how you can put together multiple shapes to create one final shape. I remember when I made that big floral artwork for a really lovely customer of mine. It took absolutely forever to make each one of the flowers on there, but the final product was stunning, absolutely stunning. And it was meant to be for, well, it was actually for my customer's mother-in-law for her 60th birthday, and she was amazed. She still got it hung onto her wall. So again, I've taken that 3rd piece, and using my pin, I'm going to just hold it in place. That makes sense. I haven't glued the center of it as yet, but I will do once I've formed the other three. Okay, then leave it like that and finish it off later. But now you get an idea of how to create these beautiful petals that look so elaborate with just simple elements that I've taught you before or I've shared with you before. I'm going to put this to one side now. And this time around, I'm going to show you how to make this kind of a flower, which is made up of just teardrops and assembled together to make one petal. What I have are teardrops, lots and lots of teardrops that I've made beforehand. You might find when you're working with quilling, you'll have lots and lots of little bits and pieces that you'll be making, and storage of it becomes a bit of a nightmare. How do you store little bits that don't get mixed up? So what I do is I actually separate everything. I put them into compartments, and that way I have lots and lots of little bits that I've created before as I go along, and I can use them at a later date when I'm making my shapes, my flowers, and my snowflakes. And it's a great way of storing everything. Can you see I don't have to go fumbling around looking for things in all sorts of places. So I've got some teardrops ready, yellow teardrops right here. I'm going to make them. Here we have some teardrops, and the two teardrops, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble the two, make into one petal. Okay, taking the two teardrops, making sure that the edge of the teardrop, as the edge of the curling, is on the outside on each side. This is the fiddly part. Here we go. Okay, so you hold it together like this to make a heart. Glue it together and pinch it to create a heart. Once you've done that, following the same method that I showed earlier, just place some glue on the outside of your heart. And this time around, what you'll have to do is the top of the heart, you go ahead and you pinch it together to make it slightly narrower. So you've got this tiny little heart that you've created and you've pinched it together. Just keep going, as I showed before, using a strip all the way around. We keep going. It's boring. No, it's not boring. It's calming. It's very, very calming. You can glue it together. Once you've glued it together, here's your little piece ready. Once that piece is done, you can start assembling them together the way I showed you before on my template board, using some pins and your cork board at the back of your template board. Put them in place, glue them together, and you'll have this kind of a flower to go. Have a few of them ready made, and then when you're creating something like this, just place them as a way you think is necessary. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to end that right here, and in Friday's tutorial I will show you how to make this flower. And all I've really done here is actually just added an embellishment in the middle, which is a crystal, which makes it into that. So I hope you found that interesting. Today we just created this one, and I showed you how to form the petals to make a flower like this. I hope you found that interesting, exciting, and I hope you've been enjoying all the tips and tricks that I've been sharing with you. I'm going to end the tutorial right here. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line, leave a message, leave a comment on this tutorial, and I'll be sure to send you any information that I have. I'll be back on again on Friday at 11 a.m. Same time, same place. So keep watching, and there's going to be tutorials, downloadable tutorials next week on my website of how to create these things that you can just download and follow the instructions through. So the website is www.vishwart.com, and you'll find lots and lots of stuff on there. I'm slowly adding lots and lots of things on there, but it does take time. So I appreciate you watching me and following my journey. Feel free to share this tutorial, this channel with your friends, your family, anybody you think would be interested in doing something as cute as this. So I hope to see you on Friday. Take care, have a fantastic day, and love you all. Bye now.